All right, KMS Wrap Up September 8th. September 8th? Yes, September 8th. Solo show again. Menners, I see you out there. Not a big deal. You didn't like it yesterday. I thought it actually flowed better. I don't really know why, but it just seemed to. I'm awful at conversing with people, like I said. So we'll see when Justin's back next week. Hopefully he's back. Maybe we get into a little rhythm. So the other thing, it's 1 o'clock right now. I'm hoping it's on Apple Podcasts. I think when I came in here, I checked and it was not. That was about 10 minutes ago. I'm just waiting for Spotify, so I'll let you in on that one. I used to wait for Apple Podcasts for it to show up and then do the tweet. No, not anymore. I'm going with Spotify. You don't have to change anything if you don't want to. I'm not whatever. You can't control what the platforms are going to do. I'm a Spotify guy. That's what I'm waiting for. That's when I tweet out. You can keep replying and saying it's not there. Not a big deal. It doesn't frustrate me. I'm just going to be a wise ass back, probably too. I think I called a guy a fool or something just now. I don't know. Not a big deal. Either way, I get it. You want the podcast fast. Apple seems to be the slowest of the slow. So that's just, so my advice to you guys that want the podcast as soon as possible, I would switch. I just would. I'm a Spotify guy. I'm waiting for it to show up on Spotify. So if you want to sync it with that, when the tweet hits, that's what's happening. So it's just one of those things. You got to get through it. It is what it is. All right, for show topics today, and I'll get one thing behind the scenes because I don't think, I guess I tweeted it during the show live, but or after the show I tweeted this, but we'll get into topics and we'll talk about that in a second. But the main thing that came out last night was the Dave Portnoy show. You know what I'll do? I'll play the cut right now. You listen to the Dave Portnoy show, and then we'll get into it.
Guess.
Idiot. IDIOT, idiot. If you know the half of it that we dealt with this, for him to be, you know who I wish saw it. There's a podcast here that I wish saw that tweet, and maybe they did. It's based out of Boston.
Oh.
All right, so it was revealed. I didn't see the tweet in question. On today's show, Kirk said he did see the tweet in question and didn't have a problem with it, but Gaz posted a picture of Ellie Schnitt. She looked to be DJing, which seemed harmless, to be honest with you. It doesn't seem like a big deal in the grand scheme of things. They could be friends behind the scenes. We don't really know. Kirk had one opinion. She had another. She complained about it. He did not. Either way, like from our viewpoint, if you listen to the show, she's in the wrong here. But the way that Dave wanted Kirk to find out about this, a Boston podcast, she's an enemy. It just made everything seem like there's a bigger deal that we don't all know about. So we obviously revisited last year, be it the bail fund stuff, all the takes from last year, but also then kind of just speculated why this feeling now, because the picture seems harmless. Asked Kirk if he wanted to call Gaz. He didn't. He could have called Dave. Didn't think Dave would say anything anyway. So I don't know. It seems like we speculated a little bit, but it seems like something's behind the scenes, be it an NDA or something that you can't talk about Ellie anymore. I have no idea. But the picture was harmless, and we talked about the other stuff. So like I said, so we'll see if that goes anywhere just based off of Kirk's response today and see if it goes anywhere else. But I can't tell you the amount of people that DM'd and said, oh my God, did you hear this? Did you hear this? Did you hear this? And people did seem to have a problem with Gaz's picture. So I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, we'll see if that plays out a little bit more, but we touched on that today. The other thing with the Dave Portnoy podcast we touched on was Nate from that show, and Barstool Nate. And it seemed like, I think Mike said on the show, he wasn't a big Barstool Nate fan. Nate appears to be one of the editors of the blog. I don't know the specific role. I think Coley is the new K Marco, and then Nate is kind of like a part of a crew that's approving blogs and stuff. So Nate goes, he's on a live stream on Twitter. He says if he sells 200 shirts, he'll basically read Trista Crick's goodbye blog in advance of it posting 8 hours later, which he tried to play off as harmless. I say that's like a douchey. It's a dick move, and I think he admitted to it later, but I think he knew it was a dick move the entire time. Just admit you hate her. I mean, I think she's taken enough shit from everybody at the company, and I know Portnoy said it was unwarranted. She was kind of playing a heel to some extent, whether you hate her or not. Either way, she's taken enough shit that I think she could take if Barstool Nate just fucking hates her. I would say just admit to it that you hate her. But here, we'll play a little clip of the Barstool Nate stuff from today and Kirk's reaction to it.
You're bitching about it. This isn't even, I don't care about Trista Crick at all. I don't give a fuck. I've never met her. I don't give a fuck about her. It's this attitude. It's the same thing I dealt with a year and a half ago, or whatever it was, last summer, with these assholes. Because, you thought maybe, just maybe, they didn't know what the fuck they were talking about.
Yeah, so basically it was, that the company and some people in it are sensitive, right? And sensitive, that goes back to the Ellie Schnitt stuff, all this. But this specifically where it was just kind of like, oh, she was mean, so I felt like I could do it. And producers thanked me. I don't know, it just seemed like disingenuous. And he seemed disingenuous in the way to go about it. My gut tells me that he just didn't like her and just wanted to fuck around. He did something that could be monetized and she's not going to work there anymore, which was his defense. But just kind of seems, I don't know, seems out of line. I don't know. I think the title of the podcast was like accuses an employee of bullying. I don't know if I'd call it bullying. It was just kind of a, I don't know if just like a general asshole move is that big of a deal. I don't know if Trista would care either, even though that text made it seem like she did. But either way, it was kind of a douchey move if you ask me. So, all right, the other stuff we got into played a Fitzy video that he released yesterday. There's not much to get into with it. I mean, it's Fitzy doing that like shit Boston people say type videos or whatever. He's in a drive-thru talking about Mac Jones. It's amazing to me, and Kirk brought this up as well, that people find it funny. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if like this show and Kirk's style not ruined in a bad way, but like you can kind of expect now like what Kirk's gonna think of that shit. And I've listened to him for a long time. You guys, if you're consuming this, you've listened a lot. Like, is that really funny if we didn't listen to Kirk? I don't really know. I don't think so. I would hope to think I wouldn't laugh. I'd be cringed out at some point, but maybe every now and then maybe they hit, I guess. We were kind of saying to the Twitter audience, I think they immediately see that and they're like, what the fuck is that? It's just a video. You don't have to be laughing out loud, but that's probably more of a Facebook play for like an older audience or something like that. I don't know. But we played that a little bit and they, it's just one of those things where it just like beats you down with how unfunny it is. So I think we only got through half of it actually before Kirk was like, fuck this. I don't want to hear it anymore. What else is going on here? Behind the scenes, we talked about it quickly. I don't know, because I know it's come on the show and it's off, but whatever. The Stevie Van Zandt thing appears to be back on. I said on the show today, if what happened yesterday played out 2 weeks ago when we were firing emails back and forth, the lock thing never would have changed. It never would have come up as a story on the show in any way or a segment on the show. But yesterday happened. Publicist is back, went a new direction, and then the guy I was originally communicating with came back because of that. So the physical copy of the book is not in Kirk's possession. The digital copy of the book is in Kirk's possession, which leads you to believe that he will read said book. They want him to read said book. An interview will happen. So I think he joked and said that it wasn't going to happen. I actually just saw a parody account, Big Jim Browdy, that Stevie Van Zandt is going to be on at 12:20 on Boston Public Radio tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. I'm assuming that was made up, but he did good graphics with it, so that was nice actually. So yeah, I assume at some point we will arrange that they're shipping the book to us, and then once we get that, we'll book a time and get this done. Like I said yesterday, plenty of time. All right. Besides that, the thing I was going to let you guys know about, I tweeted about it because I was listening to it in the moment, was that I think I got a vibe that Kirk tweeted something. Let's see. Was there anything new? Anything? He just tweeted the show. Kirk was on Foreplay, so he said that on the show that they wanted to talk to him about the Ryder Cup and the decision. Basically, Riggs is all in on Kevin Kisner joining the team. Kevin Kisner did not make the team. We talked about that on the show. So it was actually, I was listening in the back room. It looked pretty good. I think Riggs is pretty upset with the Ryder Cup selections, and so he's kind of towing the line a little bit. I think Kirk went at him a little bit, so that'll be a little free Kirk, a little extra Kirk coming to you. I don't know if that'll release tonight or if that'll release tomorrow. I don't know what their schedule is specifically, but shout out to them. They talked about the Sacco disaster toward the end and gave a nice little plug to Sacco 4. So you can always, as I remind you guys yesterday, I remind you guys hopefully in the show, if you haven't got your tickets yet, go get your tickets. You never know. Kirk could just randomly decide to pull them. I hope he doesn't. But I think there's about 100 or so left available. So they've done well ticket sales wise. So they plugged it on Foreplay. Go to Minifan HQ. I believe it's at the top there to buy tickets. And of course, we'll continue to tweet that out too, so people have the opportunity to know that they can still go and that they're still available and all that stuff. So besides that, I will talk to you again tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. That is not our regularly scheduled programming timing. Just like next week is not as well. So we'll keep reminding you of these things. Tomorrow, Quantum Week Chris is in with us again. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what develops overnight and see if anything comes of this Ellie Schnitt stuff that we touched on earlier and that we touched on the show. We'll see if anything else breaks there. But besides that, we will talk to you again tomorrow. This is the wrap-up show, September 8th. and leave a comment, subscribe, tell me what you think. Maybe you hate it, maybe you love it, whatever. Leave a comment if you're going to switch platforms because you think Apple sucks. I'd like to see those. That's fun. So that's it. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow.